So just how bad is Kash Patel's leadership at the FBI? It is so bad that with his latest chaotic firings, the FBI Agents Association, which represents 14,000 agents, including more than 90% of all active FBI agents, has issued a blistering public rebuke, calling Kash Patel's actions, quote, erratic and arbitrary retribution.
Recently, Patel found himself in a real bind during his testimony before Congress under oath, mind you. He got caught with evidence that completely contradicts what he claimed. We've got documents proving he lied, witnesses backing that up, and even his own private statements that admit to actions he firmly denied in public. The fallout is serious, with lawsuits being filed and investigations kicked off, while some senators are calling for perjury charges. What Patel admitted doing, combined with the evidence showing otherwise, isn't just bad politics. It has the potential to be downright criminal. An abuse of power that could take down FBI directors and presidents who stand by them.
That lawsuit alleges Patel knowingly broke the law when he carried out the firings at the behest of the White House, and it quotes him as saying he knew he could get sued for firing agents without cause, but that his job depended on removing people who had worked on cases against President Trump because, quote, the FBI tried to put the president in jail and he hasn't forgotten it.
Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Trump is in a bit of a panic because Patel has been one of his loyalist allies, helping him control the FBI and settle scores with enemies. If Patel faces perjury charges, and if investigations unearth the real story, it could unravel Trump's entire strategy of using federal law enforcement as a weapon. On top of that, Trump could be implicated in these actions. He might end up facing his own legal troubles if it turns out he directed Patel in the very schemes Patel is now lying about. It's like the walls are closing in and there's no escape in sight.
Ken, give me more.
Well, Katie, I should say, first of all the qualifiers apply here. With Donald Trump and personnel decisions, you never actually know exactly what's going on. But we are being told that Kash Patel, the FBI director, is on increasingly thin ice.
Let's rewind a bit and take a closer look at Kumar's testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee during his confirmation hearing. He was repeatedly asked about whether he knew of plans to fire FBI agents, if he had a hand in purging personnel who examined Trump, and if there were any retaliatory terminations under his watch. Patel insisted that he was completely unaware of any such activities and claimed there would be no political retribution under his leadership. But, as was revealed, that was all just a fabric of lies. A bunch of whistleblowers have stepped forward with proof that Patel was, in fact, involved. It's quite a revelation to hear what Senator Dick Durbin brought to light about Kash Patel.
At the core of the FBI is not just scandalous, it's an existential threat to our Republican form of government, end quote. And with the power of his office and the blessings of the president, he attacked the FBI with a vengeance. Mr. Patel had falsely claimed the FBI, quote, was planning January 6th for a year.
He stepped onto the Senate floor and shared some serious claims, stating that multiple whistleblowers from the highest levels of the FBI have given credible information. Apparently, Patel was heavily involved in orchestrating a purge of senior law enforcement officials. What's even more shocking is that before his confirmation hearing, he was already ordering firings and meeting with Trump administration officials to chart out who to remove. Patel had the nerve to declare to the Senate that he didn't know anything about those actions, which, let's be honest, is a clear case of perjury, simple lying to Congress, and a felony at that.
I don't know what reports you're referring to, Ranking Member, and I reject any reporting that has false information in it, so I'm not going to respond to that. As far as polygraphs go, generally they are always and always have been utilized at the FBI to track down those that leak sensitive information and have unauthorized disclosures to the media, and we will continue to use them to ensure the integrity of the FBI.
Durbin has even sent a letter to the Justice Department's Inspector General demanding an investigation into whether Patel committed perjury. Here's the kicker. Patel had told senators he was completely unaware of any plans to target FBI agents involved in investigations concerning Trump, yet the whistleblower said he was the one calling the shots on those punishments. He insisted he had no knowledge of what was happening at the FBI before taking on his role, but evidence is starting to paint a very different picture. It turns out he was actively managing the purge, holding meetings where supervisors were pressured to resign, and specifically targeting officials looking into the January 6th incident and agents involved in the classified documents case.
Any individual on your senior executive team, the director's advisory team, or who serve in the positions on the 7th floor receive disqualifying alerts on their polygraphs.
Senator, I'm not going to get into the personnel discussions that were had on a polygraph. Those are private discussions, and many of them relate to ongoing investigations.
All while maintaining the facade that he had no hand in any of it. But it goes beyond just lying to Congress. What Patel is being accused of is genuinely horrific. It seems he fired FBI agents simply for doing their jobs, investigating Trump, working on cases related to January 6th, and handling classified documents. That's illegal. Federal law is quite clear about protecting agents from political retaliation. You can't just dismiss career law enforcement for performing lawful investigations, but that's precisely what Patel is being accused of doing. And then he lied about it under oath. Now, it's worth noting that 3 former FBI officials, Brian Driscoll, Stephen Jensen, and Spencer Evans, have filed a lawsuit against Patel for wrongful termination. According to their complaint, these officials have been unfairly let go. And what's particularly alarming is Patel's own private acknowledgement regarding the situation. So it turns out that there were some firings that were clearly retaliatory. And what's even more surprising is that there's an admission that these actions might have been illegal and violated the FBI's own protocols meant to protect agents from political interference. This private acknowledgement doesn't line up with what was said under oath during Senate testimony, which is basically clear-cut proof of perjury. It's like Cash Patel is admitting to some serious wrongdoing behind closed doors while denying the same things in public. The lawsuit paints a vivid picture of how systematic this purge was. On January 29th, the acting FBI director and his deputy gathered a group of higher-ups and told them they needed to resign. The reasons weren't about any misbehavior or performance issues. It was purely political. Basically, they were let go for working on cases that Trump didn't favor or because they were viewed as disloyal. That's some heavy-duty political cleaning out we're witnessing. This goes against what Patel insisted wouldn't happen, and he denied even knowing about it when senators probed. Now think about the personnel who got fired. These were top officials responsible for fighting against international and domestic terrorism, cybersecurity threats, human and drug trafficking, not to mention violent crime. They were all dismissed just because Trump and Patel preferred loyalists over seasoned professionals. It really makes you wonder about safety and justice. Does this actually protect anyone, or is it just fueling Trump's grudge against those who looked into him? Patel's prior testimony is unraveling as Senator Adam Schiff pressed him about whether he had ever fired or disciplined an FBI employee simply for investigating Trump or the events of January 6th. Patel flatly denied it. But when Schiff restructured the question a little, Patel slipped in a telling detail. He claimed that no one was fired solely for their case assignments. This is a clear admission that agents might have been dismissed at least partially for dealing with Trump-related cases, which directly contradicts his first answer. It's like he's caught in a web of lies and trying to wriggle his way out. Legal analysts like Benjamin Wittes from Lawfare have taken note of this mess. He even wrote a piece stating plainly his disbelief in Patel's statements. While he didn't accuse him of outright perjury without further evidence, he highlighted that Patel's claims didn't align with the facts. Wittes pointed out that Patel's denials regarding the firing of agents for political reasons are unfounded, that his assertions about not receiving direction from the White House are questionable, and that his claims regarding loyalty tests and polygraph requirements are simply incorrect. It's interesting to see how seasoned legal minds interpret this situation. It's honestly hard to believe just how many lies Cash Patel seems to be tangled up in. When he was questioned by senators, he was asked about Stuart Peters, a far-right podcaster known for promoting conspiracy theories. Patel claimed he didn't know who he was, saying, "Not off the top of my head." But here's the kicker. His own Senate questionnaire lists that he's made 8 separate appearances on Peters' podcast. That's a pretty clear contradiction. Peters even publicly called him out, claiming they exchanged contact info and constantly text on personal phones. He even stated that Patel's charity helped him with a lawsuit, which totally blows Patel's story out of the water. Now, talking about the January 6th choir, Patel wasn't off the hook there either. Senator Durbin pointed out that some of the performers were poor who got imprisoned for attacking the Capitol, and Patel claimed under oath that he was unaware of that fact. He also insisted he had nothing to do with the recording, but he had publicly taken credit for producing that record before. He'd even said the choir supported political prisoners. Then he sat in front of the Senate and pretended he had no idea about any of it. That's documented lying under oath, and he has video evidence proving it. Now, let's connect this to Trump, because whistleblowers claimed that Patel was following directions from the White House. They said he discussed firings with officials from the Trump administration, including Stephen Miller. When senators asked Patel if he took personnel direction from the White House, he denied it, saying he didn't remember talking to Miller about firing anyone. But if the whistleblower testimony holds up, an inspector general investigation will confirm that. Patel's denial about the White House's involvement is significant. It could point right back to Trump by showing that he ordered illegal retaliatory firings, making Trump potentially liable for directing those crimes. Just think about the pattern here. When Patel was asked if he fired anyone for working on January 6th, he said no, but evidence suggests otherwise. When asked if he fired anyone due to the Trump investigations, he again said no, unless they violated their oath. But evidence indicates that political retribution was the driving force. And when he was asked if he had any knowledge of purges before his confirmation, he played innocent, claiming ignorance, while the evidence suggests he was directing those actions all along. It's baffling how every major question and critical topic turns up more lies from him. It's really something to see how things are unfolding with Cash Patel. Evidence has come to light that clearly contradicts his testimony. This isn't about forgetting things. It's about outright lying. It's pretty alarming when you think about it. Senator Chris Coons really put him on the spot, questioning him about dismissing James Dennehy, who refused to comply with a White House request to disclose the names of agents involved in investigating the Capitol riot. That's a clear case of witness intimidation and obstruction. Everyone has a right to be protected from retaliation. Dennehy was let go just for sticking to his guns, and that looks an awful lot like a political purge. It indicates that there's a targeted effort against agents who are simply doing their jobs. Even more concerning, the New York Times dug into how Patel directed FBI agents to scour sensitive files, looking for anything to bring down Trump's opponents. It looks like he was on a mission to find damaging information to undermine federal officials who were involved in the investigations. Think about that. Using the FBI like a political tool, that's not what he promised he'd do. Evidence suggests he's gone ahead and done it anyway, in a systematic manner. This really sheds light on Trump's strategy with the FBI. The idea is to have Patel as the director to kick out anyone who had investigated Trump and replace them with loyalists.